Welcome, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you at our FinTech Forum on Academic Insights. I would like to introduce you Dr. Sinakis from the University of Glasgow that is going to speak about the research at the University of Glasgow on FinTech, and Dr. Kaveh Asai from the University of Malaya, who is going to speak about the landscape of FinTech at Malaysia. I would like to draw your attention to the Q&A function at the bottom of your screens, where feel free at any point to post your questions, and I will transfer your questions to our presenters. The first presenter is Dr. Sinakis, that he's going to speak about the research for FinTech at the university. So Haralabos, feel free to start when you're ready.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Georgios. I'm just going to share my screen at the moment. Okay. So thanks for the introduction, Georgios. Today it's a FinTech Academic Insight Day for University of Glasgow, and as part of this, I'm going to present, I would say, a scholarship piece on how big data, AI, and machine learning are working in favor of FinTech, and this is what I would say, a fun project with Georgios, who is hosting this this session. And I say fun project because it's not a common project that we tend to do in terms of modeling and the use of machine learning in finance. So back in 2019, when we started building the MSc in FinTech, or designing the MSc in FinTech, we were thinking with Georgios to do a critical piece on how AI, machine learning, and big data come together in transforming the FinTech landscape. So this is going to be a short version of the work that we have done, and I'm going to try to go through some descriptive statistics and the FinTech paradigm that we see in University of Glasgow. So, as you probably know, the financial world is transforming gradually through digital information, and this information requires quite a lot of speed to be transformed and to be processed. And of course, the volume of this information is quite large. So as this transformation is taking place, it is observed, consumers and investors to shift towards a pro-technology attitude for financial services. Now, so if we assume that this is a new norm for financial services, why is this happening now? Even in 2003, Household and Marquez had illustrated that advances in IT would potentially propose effects and promote financial innovation. So the main answer to this is that probably now FinTech is more about technology rather than finance, and this is reported by Accenture in the latest report. Also, we observe changes in terms of how financial institutions operate, especially in relationship to the generation of big data. Financial institutions are the main big data generators, but the issue is what they're doing with this data. In the past, the notion or the term of data swarms was very common in a sense that financial institutions would have data that they do not know their accurate picture or the quality, and they would have to pay a lot of money to keep them in storage, in a sense. Now, we observe in the latest literature of finance some change in terms of how machine learning and AI can play a role into transforming financial services or making them more adaptive. And what we posed with the scholarship piece that we were working on is that the change, the big change, is that that these data swamps, through the use of AI and machine learning, can become some lakes of smart data from which we can extract value that we couldn't before. So I want to illustrate the fintech shifting paradigm with using an allegory from our shared experience with George. It's a decade-long experience, and that's why I think this would be interesting to share. So in a sense, it is this graph shows how from myself, from a student of computer engineering, I am talking to you in this fintech forum through my years in academia and in the Adam Smith Business School. So as you will see here, around 2010, I met Georgios. Me at the moment, I was a graduate of electrical and computer engineering. And I met Georgios, who had an undergraduate in math, a postgraduate degree in finance, and a PhD in AI in finance. So the suggestion was to join him as a PhD student to do a PhD in machine learning in finance. So during this process, I joined as a PhD candidate at the Adam Smith Business School in the economics department. And once I graduated, we continued to collaborate with Georgios between 2014 and 2018 on topics that at the time would be considered black box areas in finance. And this could manifest mainly in our research. So we used artificial intelligence and machine learning for foreign exchange trading. We used support vector regressions for ETF forecasting, and generally technical analysis for portfolio optimization decisions. In terms of our teaching, the effect of this knowledge was a bit not easy to manifest, as we were taking over mainstream finance courses and statistics courses. And our PhD students usually were from a quantitative finance background or a financial forecasting background. In terms of impact and knowledge exchange, we were focusing mostly on algorithmic trading and how hedge funds could change their operations through these techniques. And Georgios and I have been involved in special issues in quantitative finance or operational research. And during workshops, mostly AI and machine learning sessions were some expert sessions in such conferences. Now, we observe a bit of a shift in 2019, where we started building up the MSc in FinTech. So this was a collaborative effort from all the departments in the Adam Smith Business School. And we had also received inputs from University of Glasgow, Department of Law or Department of Computer Sciences. And this leads to where we are getting from 2019 into 2020 and now 2021, where we have a shifting paradigm in what we do, even in terms of teaching again and PhD students, research and impact. So we observe now us leading courses specific to financial technology, to AI in FinTech or machine learning in FinTech or FinTech risk management. We observe change in the PhD students that we take under our supervision. We have now PhD students, except from machine learning, PhD students that are looking at digital entrepreneurship, at FinTech and blockchain applications. In terms of research, we move much more into the domain of advanced AI and machine learning techniques. We have done work on cryptocurrencies. We have done work on how financial technology is affecting banking performance and SMEs performance. And in terms of impact and knowledge exchange activities, now we start building a new impact case on how fintech is bridging the gap between machine learning and digital financial services. And we have started also sessions and workshops specifically related to the advances of AI and machine learning. So this decade-long experience basically brings us here today with you, sharing this work on AI, and of course having initiatives in the Adams Smith Business School, like the FinTech Forum and the connection with practice, and the FinTech academic insights, like the sessions that we are going to take. So this is a FinTech shifting paradigm through academia, but we can observe this even throughout numbers. If we just take a look at the way consumers have shifted their behavior, we will observe that all FinTech segments like money, payment, savings, investment, insurance, borrowing, or financial planning start to increase throughout time. With results. These are results that we got from Ernst & Young's Global FinTech Adoption Index. So these shifts obviously play a role in the way also financial services or financial institutions perceive consumers. We also observe some very interesting results from Ernst & Young, from the Ernst & Young study on what is going to be the impact on the fintech industry in terms of revenue growth. And as you'll see in this graph, we're talking about around 40% of companies, of the respondents from the companies, expecting growth that varies from 81% to 400%. So we expect high growth in terms of revenues in the UK fintech industry. Now, how is big data coming into this this domain? Obviously, in order to understand how AI, big data, and machine learning have symbiotic characteristics, we need to understand what big data is. And as we know, big data are usually characterized by the 4 V's. So we have volume of data that are static. We have data that are changing with high speed. We have different types of data altogether, so structured, unstructured, text, multimedia. And then we have some data that are characterized by veracity, so by uncertainty or inconsistencies. So having this in mind, the important element here to understand the symbiosis of machine learning with AI is the idea of being able to extract the 5th V of these big data sets. And the 5th V is the idea of extracting value from these data points. And not only extracting value, but being able to estimate the exact value that is created from each unit of data, no matter what data we're using. Now, we can have examples of big data in order to give some points of where we should be focusing when we're talking about big data. We should be focusing on elements like consumer shopping habits, personalized targeting of ads, real-time monitoring for health, media streaming, and cybersecurity protocols. All of these are big data that are related to the retail sector, but then you can also have elements of this related to financial services, especially when it comes to structured and unstructured data. Financial institutions, as I said before, are the top producers. So we could have big data in terms of real-time stock market insights, consumer sentiment, fraud signaling, and risk analysis on high-frequency information. So how can this data set be explored more efficiently? How can we uncover this fifth V, the value from big data sets? Well, the answer is through big data analytics. And if we are talking about fintech shifting paradigm, then the fact that we have the Financial Stability Report of 2017 talking about the advantages of AI techniques and machine learning in fintech is by itself a shifting paradigm. Now, as you will see from this non-technical summary, big data analytics and AI comes together through machine learning, and especially through deep learning techniques. Depending on the level of the machine learning ability of the models, we can have supervised learning, reinforced learning, and unsupervised learning. But the point of this presentation is not to talk about the technical elements of these techniques, but rather the symbiotic characteristics that they offer within fintech. So then we started working, as I said, in a fun element when we were writing this scholarship piece down, and we saw that in many news or articles there was a link of fintech with the blockbuster movie of Star Wars. So we have Geoffrey in 2016 talking about a new world order where the galaxies are related to banking, capital markets, equities, regulation, and technological innovation. These galaxies, except the latest one, which is the technological innovation, seem to be static for quite a long time. Also, Barclay et al. In 2019 is talking about the dark side of digital financial transformation, focusing on specific risks related to how big data are used and how information technology plays a role in this big data analytics space. So we follow the same, space parallelism or allegory, and we basically try to motivate that or position AI and machine learning as the force keeping the galactic balance in the fintech universe. And in order to prove or explain to the mainstream reader the symbiotic nature of big data, AI, and machine learning in fintech, we have compiled a summary of descriptive statistics to show this. Now, the first that we have here is the skyrocketing numbers of the volume of data and information that is being created worldwide. So obviously here you see that we have some forecasts for exponential growth in the next 3 to 4 years from the International Data Corporation report. Similar results are found when it comes to the volume of big data in data center storages and the IP traffic that is being generated from consumers and businesses. These two figures together obviously show that there is a transformation of big data information, of big data generation from typically personal users to now consumers, to now businesses that are actually using information from consumers. We also have interesting papers in academic literature about big data patent filings. And one paper like this is Chen et al. In RFS in 2019, who basically explained that the fintech innovation is driven by big data patents, especially for financial services. This shift is also corroborated by the report of IDC that I mentioned before, and especially financial services are joining manufacturing and retail services or industries in the top 3 ranking of data-driven sectors. So it's easy to understand why big data is important for financial technology. Now, why big data has symbiotic characteristics with AI, this can be easily be explained by the report from Practica 2019 on AI-based software and hardware revenue growth. The numbers that they present are quite staggering in terms of the growth of this market. And they relate a lot to things that some computer engineers know or personal users know about CPUs and GPUs in the application of network products and storage devices for big data. Now, the symbiosis of machine learning with AI is actually very easy to prove. Only if we check the cumulative funding of AI throughout 2019 in $1 billion of US dollars, we obviously observe the top 2 areas of funding is machine learning applications and machine learning platforms. So this is quite easy to prove. Now, we observe that these machine learning applications have some specific connections with the retail, with elements of the retail industry, like customer engagement, payment processing, and product design and creation, and especially the latter one is showing big increase for the future. But these specific sectors are key strategic goals for financial institutions, especially those that want to transform themselves digitally, and continue to have their customer base happy, and also to actually expand the customer base. This can be seen in studies like VIVS 2017 and FACOR 2020. So basically what we are concluding here is that the symbiotic nature of big data, AI, and machine learning is revisiting or is providing more answers to the so-called data science puzzle as presented in May 2017. So if we assume that data science is here with us to utilize data and provide insights, then the collaboration of the big data, AI, and machine learning is probably making this much easier. It infuses business intelligence, it infuses statistical analysis, and of course, data visualization, which is what at the end of the day provides these insights. What we are trying to show with this graph here is that big data by themselves are not very useful. Only if we can actually utilize them and exploit them through AI and machine learning can bring big data analytics one step forward. The main characteristic that we believe is here very important is that with the combination of the elements, we can have human conscience being related to the logic of computing. And like this, we can increase the interpretability of these models. So we can stop this whole debate about black box methods. Now, if with what I've said, I managed to convince you that the big data, AI, and machine learning have symbiotic characteristics, I hope with the next information to try to convince you that this symbiotic nature is actually favoring the principles of fintech. And in order to do that, I'm going to try to talk from the perspective of financial services, some changes in labor market, some shifts in academic publications, and some changes in organization culture. So Deloitte presents a study showing the expected timeline of artificial intelligence in terms of transformation of organizations. So when we expect this symbiosis to actually manifest, according to the opinions of business executives, the period is around tops 3 years. So this is a quite short-term process. If we check the result here, we're talking about 70% of the respondents believe that the change in AI, in their organization from AI and in the industry from AI is going to happen to a time frame of 3 years tops. So this is quite outstanding from a perspective of shifting or change in organizational culture. Now, in terms of economic impact in financial services, I think this is something that all of us have seen. Just to see the McKinsey report, who is talking about an aggregate impact of $0.3 trillion for banking. Now, this is generated usually through peer-to-peer lending processes and through improvements of financial fraud, detection and prevention. Usually, this is where this aggregate economic impact is attributed to. So obviously here we have literature that is particularly focusing on peer-to-peer lending, smart contracts and cryptocurrencies. And we also have literature that is working on the field of improving peer-to-peer lending decisions and improvements in the framework of how to identify fraudulent transactions. In terms of labor, we definitely observe changes in the tech industry in terms of compensation and in terms of demand for specific job skills. And you will see that based on this report from Forbes, quantum computing, fintech, AI, and connected technologies are the top 4 job skills that are predicted to grow a lot, which is actually quite interesting to see. In terms of academic literature, basically what we observe is a reconciliation between economics research and operational research expertise. And we see more and more academics moving towards AI and machine learning techniques for financial sentiment analysis, for asset pricing, for text mining. So basically, we definitely observe black box becoming mainstream. This is a figure that we have extracted from Osbagioglu et al. 2020. And the arrows here are elements of research that we have been involved, me and Georgios, in the past. Now, how we manifest impact and how we manifest change through this technology, again, we observe that the technologies that are going to be providing the highest impact in organizations is edge computing, so cloud computing, which is related to big data, AI and machine learning, and DevOps, which is the development of software and IT solutions through these 2 processes. Blockchain, that many of us tend to discuss, is quite low in the list. And if we see what organizations have actually gained from using machine learning, we see some interesting results because we're talking about more insights, we're talking about creation of next generation products, and increased speed to the insight, which relates to the data science problem that I mentioned, data science puzzle that I mentioned earlier. So what does the future hold for this symbiosis? Obviously, it's a trade-off between being prepared for an AI change and being concerned for what the AI will bring. As you see from this report from Deloitte, basically what we observe is where we have extreme concerns related to AI, and where we believe that we are fully prepared as a company and as a state. And you will see that the preparation element, the blue bar, is always quite low. So obviously there is a lot to discuss in the future about how prepared we are for AI change, especially when it comes to big data analytics, ethical issues, cybersecurity vulnerabilities, and so on. So I'm gonna start my conclusion. Well, we conclude with a note for the future, and we keep the Star Wars analogy alive by saying, if we believe that AI and machine learning is indeed the force that is strong within fintech, then who are the Sith or the Jedi linking with the movie? Well, we believe that the data science are those. We observe people in the literature talking about the role of data science in a data-driven economy, like Maria Cavanilas et al. 2016. But we also have reports talking about the unicorn effect in data science, like the Davenport 2020 analysis. So we need to be cautious. But what we posit, or what we are trying to push forward here, is that we need to start rethinking what data science is. We need to get over old-fashioned notions that is someone in a basement working on data. Data science are actually an amalgamation of tech savviness, now expert knowledge based on particular techniques, and people that are going to provide digital entrepreneurship insights. Just to highlight why this would be, just checking the roles that are being undertaken by data scientists throughout time, we observe the so-called rise of the data scientist, if we want to follow up on the paper of General Finance that is talking about the rise of the machines in algorithmic trading. So you will see that in this graph, data scientists start to take more and more tasks that are related to business problems that are being solved with analytics, organization and leading projects, trying to mentor and teach others about techniques that will provide business insights, and communicate with people from outside the company, something that in the past would be thought to be unheard of. So this is my presentation. Obviously, this presentation is a shorter version of what we have done with Georgios. In the actual paper, we have much more descriptive statistics to present, and perhaps this would be interesting for the mainstream reader around AI, big data, and machine learning techniques. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you, Gerardo, for your interesting presentation. Now I'll pass the microphone and the video to Kaveh, who's going to discuss the fintech landscape in Malaysia. Thank you for joining us, Kaveh.
Thank you so much. Could you let me share my screen first? My apologies, there is some difficulties here. Can you see my slides now? Okay, let me. Well, sorry, my sincere apologies for some technical issues here. Okay, let's start because we already missed some times here. Well, greetings and very good day to all from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. My name is Kaveh, and I'm currently a senior lecturer in the Department of Accounting at the University of Malaya. First of all, I'd especially like to thank Adam Smith Business School and its respected FinTech group for giving me this golden opportunity to talk about FinTech in Malaysia in this fruitful fintech academic inside event. Okay, first of all, let me start with a maxim whereby I can simply convey the central message of this talk, and in the same way I can somehow link fintech to my own major research area, that is intellectual capital. Knowledge is power. I'm sure you're all agreed that in today's business environment, the maxim that knowledge is power has greater significance than ever before. As the global economy moves towards being more information intensive, a firm's knowledge-based assets or intellectual capital are becoming more fundamental to its successful operation. That is, what a firm knows is often more important than what it owns. In this respect, nowadays, we all know that information technology, as one of the most critical elements of intellectual capital, plays a central role in accelerating the speed of knowledge transfer and creation. Okay. Well, to be more specific, advances in technology along with evolving consumer demand have led to a growing number of fintech companies, not only in Malaysia, but all over the world. It's self-evident that the emergence of such companies is reshaping the financial sector at a rapid pace. Okay, with the foregoing introductory remarks in mind, today my talk primarily aims to present an overall picture of the fintech landscape in Malaysia by briefly introducing the profiles of the top 20 Malaysian fintech startups, as well as established players, all of which is arranged alphabetically and doesn't indicate any ranking. Okay, well, number one, Axiata Digital is a subsidiary under Axiata Group, a telecom conglomerate that famous in Malaysia for its brand Celcom. Within digital financial service vertical, Axiata Digital operates two brands like Boost and Aspirasi. Boost is among one of the early players within the Malaysian e-wallet space, and Aspirasi is a digital financing platform for micro and SME businesses. While its e-wallet brand may not longer be the top dog in the space, its digital lending platform, Aspirasi, has a great capacity for filling in the financing gap within the SME and micro SME space. They have recently entered into an agreement with CIMB Bank to offer financing solution to 700,000 SMEs. Today, they claim to have distributed 50 million ringgit worth of micro loans to 9,000 merchants. The Axiata Digital Group has also teamed up with Great Eastern to provide affordable insurance to consumers, micro entrepreneurs, and SMEs. This will be done through Aspirasi and its partner platform, which includes Celcom and Boost. Well, the second name is BigPay. BigPay preferred to describe itself as an alternative to banking as opposed to an e-wallet. They often say they are built more in the mold of new banks like Monzo, like Sterling, and surprisingly, one of its tagline, challenge banking, is just one alphabet short of calling itself as a challenger bank. BigPay comes with a well-designed budget management function and prepaid MasterCard, which you can load and use in any merchants around the world that accept MasterCard. Actually, the company is under the AirAsia Group. During its earlier days, Tony Fernandez in an attempt to drum up action for the product, one say that BigPay will be worth more than AirAsia, that it will give Alipay a run for its money. In Malaysia, with their budget management function, as I just mentioned, that provides you visual of what you have been spending on. Actually, we like the fact that it will also automatically summarizes your spending when you return from a trip and at the end of every month. One more thing is that the exchange rates offered by BigPay is very competitive and is fast becoming a preferred method for travelers compared to the traditional way to exchange currencies at the physical money changer. Well, the third big name is CoinGecko. CoinGecko is among the largest crypto data aggregator in the world, actually tracking nearly 3,300 tokens from more than 260 cryptocurrency exchanges. Between million visitors around the world rely on CoinGecko to get real-time data on crypto currencies. The company provides the fundamental analysis of the crypto market. In addition to tracking price, volume, and market capitalization, CoinGecko tracks community growth, open source code development, major events, and on-chain metrics. It's one of the few, if not the only company in Malaysia making headway in this space, and it's giving a player like CoinMarketCap a run for its money. In Malaysia, again, we like the additional metrics it provides to help users better evaluate cryptocurrencies, and we are also fans of their annual crypto reports. Well, EtherScan. Yeah, some have described EtherScan as Ethereum's leading blog explorer. Simply put, it is a search engine that allows users to look up, confirm, and validate transaction on Ethereum platform. As I just mentioned, it's widely recognized within the global community as one of the big names in the Ethereum block explorer space. Actually, it has a simple and clean interface that does what you need. It's between 4 to 7 million users rely on it every month to actually track transaction on Ethereum. Number 5. Well, FiLife, founded in 2015, initially under the brand name U4Life. FiLife is an insurtech company offering online term life insurance. Actually, FiLife is a straightforward path for Malaysian to purchase life insurance digitally. The company provides a very competitive pure protection plan of up to 1 million ringgit, which is among the highest you can buy online in Malaysia without needing a medical checkup. Well, number 6, Fundaztic. Okay, Fundaztic is a homegrown P2P financing platform licensed by the Security Commission Malaysia. They were among the first batch of P2P finance operator license to operate in Malaysia. And also in 2018, company raised 3 million ringgit in just 38 minutes on pitchIN. Fundaztic enjoys a bright founding team with a very good actually experience and background. Also, we like their principal protect scheme, which provide assurance to investors that they will not incur capital losses if they are able to meet certain conditions. Lastly, it enables investors to start investing for as low as 50 ringgit. Number 7, founding in 1994, GHL is one of the prestigious names in Malaysia, actually in the payment space. GHL is listed at the main board of Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange and has presence across multiple ASEAN markets as well, like Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia, and also Singapore. GHL is an established player with a strong traction and regional presence, processing over 1 billion ringgit in transaction value per month. Number 8, HelloGold, founded in 2015. Through their app, HelloGold enable customers to save money using gold for as low as 1 ringgit. So HelloGold's main aim is to enable low to medium-sized customers to have access to financial products like gold saving, actually with an affordable minimum investment size. The app is nice and easy to use. We also like their smart saver function, which enable automated gold saving. We also like the fact that although HelloGold is built on the blockchain, their key messaging is the value they bring to the customer compared to other startups who sometimes lose sight of their core proposition. To date, HelloGold serves over 100,000 users who have purchased more than $10 million in gold bullion. Number 9, iPay88. Founded in 2006, iPay88 is one of the biggest names, again, in online payment gateway setting in Malaysia that plays a crucial role in accelerating the Malaysia e-commerce growth through payments. In 2015, Japanese tech giant NTT Data acquired iPay88. It is arguably one of the Malaysia's first successful exits within the fintech space. As a leading player in the online payment processing space in Malaysia, iPay88 also enjoys its own good market in the ASEAN realm. Well, number 10, Jirnexu. Jirnexu operates Malaysia's most popular financial marketplace, Ringgit Plus, which provides an end-to-end online application solution for Malaysian research compared to and select banking and insurance product also. In the same vein, they operate under the brand name Credit Gogo in Indonesia, if you heard about that. Ringgit Plus has 1.5 million monthly visitors and a database of 800,000 customers. They are already working with most of the major banks in Malaysia. Based on similar web data, they have 73% more traffic compared to its closest competitors, having received $10 billion in strategic investment from Experian, also provide them a competitive edge. Number 11, KATSANA. KATSANA, through its Drive Mark brand, aimed to introduce usage-based insurance to Malaysia. Actually, DriveMark is a reward ecosystem for safe drivers. Its app track driving behavior and allow drivers to compare with each other to win prize and cheaper personal and motor insurance. While the usage-based insurance has a lot of promise, adoption still lacks a lot to be desired. KATSANA's DriveMark approach in creating a separate platform that gives users control to their own data could potentially accelerate the adoption of usage-based insurance in Malaysia. Number 12, MoneyMatch. MoneyMatch is a cross-border payment in Malaysia, providing digital remittance service at the competitive rates. MoneyMatch is the first startup in Malaysia to be on Ripple's networks, and in 2018, they bagged an award at the Singapore FinTech Festival. MoneyMatch pioneered eKYC account opening within the digital remittance space and was the first to graduate from Bank Negara Malaysia FinTech Sandbox into a fully licensed digital remittance service provider. Well, the next established player is MyCash Online, founded in 2016. MyCash Online is an e-marketplace for migrant community. Actually, it enables unbanked migrants access to digital and financial services. MyCash recently launched the ECF campaign with pitchIN, provided their investors with 44% returns. MyCash plays its role in a setting that few do, and it provides a much needed service given the fact that Malaysia has a strong migrant population and undocumented workers. They have recently expanded also their services to Singapore and Australia. Well, number 14, MYTHEO. MYTHEO was joined as a joint venture between Japan's first robo-advisor money design co. and Silver Lake Group, a leading software providing in the banking space. Actually, it is the only homegrown company approved by the Securities Commission Malaysia to operate a digital investment manager or better known as robo-advisor to most. MYTHEO is the only homegrown company that secured a license to operate a robo-advisor, which offers an affordable and friendly option for the masses to invest in capital markets through ETFs. pitchIN, as an important equity crowdfunding platform operator in Malaysia, pitchIN supports SMEs to raise funds and retail investors investment opportunities in earlier stage companies, commanding more than 75% share of funds raised through equity crowdfunding in Malaysia. pitchIN actually is a clear market leader in the equity crowdfunding space. Well, the next one is PolicyStreet. PolicyStreet is the first homegrown insurtech to be awarded a financial advisor approved by Bank Negara Malaysia, which enable the firm to give unbiased insurance recommendations and financial planning services. Making sale of more than 20,000 policies, PolicyStreet has achieved a sum assured for more than 1 billion ringgit. SINEGY. Okay, SINEGY founded in 2017, is the only Malaysian company granted approved by the regulators to run a crypto exchange. Its exchange currently allows for trading of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. The company traded more than $16 million in its first 6 months. Number 18, SOFTSPACE. From being the first to bring MPOS systems to the market to powering the world's first tap-on-phone payment solution, SOFTSPACE is among one of the most innovative payment services providers in Malaysia, and over 20 financial institutions in 10 countries adopting its solution. Well, 19, TNG Digital. TNG Digital is famous for, in Malaysia, it's famous for the e-wallet brand, Touch and Go wallet, e-wallets, and it's formed as a joint venture between Ant Financial and Touch and Go. Actually, we like their money back guarantee policy, which helped a lot of skeptics make the jump to try e-wallet. Also, their UI has improved significantly. The design also is clean, and the app is unencumbered. I think they have now secured 125,000 merchant points and over 7 million users. Okay, and the last one, Tranglo is a cross-border payment specialist. They are actually supporting remittance functions for major global brands like TransferWise, WeChat Pay, Alipay, and so on. Actually, they have processed over $5 billion worldwide and on the trajectory to grow further, having just secured a global partnership with Ant Financial and actually WeChat Pay. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Kaveh, for your interesting presentation.
My pleasure.
It was a pleasure to learn about the fintech landscape in Malaysia.
In Malaysia, yeah.
Now I'm going to move to the questions and answer session.
Sure.
Well, I don't see any question yet, but I can ask you a question. Can you discuss for us what you believe that's going to be the future framework of fintech in Malaysia? What's going to be the challenges for developing fintech in Malaysia?
Yeah, Giorgio, having recognized all these changes in the financial service landscape, as you probably know, foreign regulators, Australia, Hong Kong, and Singapore have launched actually a regulatory sandbox framework to provide for financial institutions and fintech companies to test their innovation within the regulated parameters. In Malaysia also, on 18 October 2016, Bank Negara Malaysia BNB issued the financial technology regulatory sandbox framework, and I think this is a starting point, and for which took immediate effect with the goal of providing a regulatory environment to foster innovation of fintech in Malaysia. And I can see the bright future, and the industry is really fast running, and I think the future is so bright for the fintech in Malaysia. Yeah.
Do you see any challenges in developing fintech in Malaysia? Do you think any events or factors that might affect this progress?
I think not challenge. If we can see from this, actually, on the other hand, we can see that during the pandemic, I think it's self-evident that fintech industry, fintech companies can grow more and more. And right now, I cannot see any actually specific challenges within the context. And I believe that exactly pandemic.
Thank you very much, Kaveh. We have some kind of I don't know, some internet issues, but thank you very much for your
Thank you so much.
comments.
Gabby, can I barge in and ask you a question? I mean, I was reading lately the report from IMF about flourishing ecosystem in Malaysia, and the report was also talking a bit about the road ahead in terms of Islamic finance and Sharia law compliance. I mean, are there issues there in terms of these processes, or these are generally mainstreamed through the APIs and the background operations of these startups?
In Malaysia also, I think because it has some specific regulations like Taika law, like Sharia regulation, and I think this one also has a good opportunity for us in Malaysia to look more closely at the limitations of the fintech here. So I think I can see also the presence of this approach, Islamic finance or something like that. Actually, I don't believe to Islamic finance or Islamic accounting, but I think it is also can foster the speed and accelerate the speed of fintech in Malaysia.
In terms of changes that you observe in academia, I mean, obviously, I discussed a bit how our shared experience with Georgios here in Glasgow University, shape this change in fintech and how people approach techniques that used to be more technical in the past. Do you observe also changes in an academic setting in terms of what type of research PhD students do or what type of projects are being undertaken?
Actually, yeah. As I mentioned at the outset of my presentation, my major research area is intellectual capital. And I mentioned that I somehow connected fintech because technology is one of the most strategic elements of intellectual capital. Famous theory within our context, fit as a mediation. We just say that knowledge features like fintech can determine the design and a structure of organizational structure and organizational control system. We may connect in this way. We can actually study more on the link between these two concepts in the future, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you. I don't see any question from our audience. So I think it's time then to conclude our discussion.
Okay, sure.
It was very, thank you very much, both of you, for attending this forum. And thanks, of course, to our attendees.
Thank you.
I hope you find this interaction fruitful.
Yeah, so fruitful.
So it was a pleasure, Kaveh. So take care.
Thank you so much.
and
Take care.
have a
And
nice day.
have a nice day. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Jean-Paul.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Kaveh.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Georgios.
It was a
Bye.
pleasure. Bye-bye.